Learn to lean into what your gut is telling you. Helping people find worthiness through creativity, you're an expert at. I'd always go to the board and draw a Bart Simpson on the chalkboard. It's the only thing I can draw. What's up, man?
Hi, Evan.
Is that a chalkboard behind you?
Yes, it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is that where you kind of brainstorm your ideas or what?
Yeah, my girlfriend and I, we brainstorm ideas here. We draw on here. Uh, it's empty now. We just got done drawing some stuff, so now we're thinking about doing chalkboard art. Where my first idea was to have her sitting like here, and then like listening to a guy playing music, a picture of someone's music. We're just thinking up with cute ideas.
It reminds me of when I was in university. I would always get to my class. If I got there early, I would always go to the board and draw a Bart Simpson on the chalkboard. It's like the only thing I can draw. It's the only thing I can draw is Bart Simpson. And then one time I got super early to my Italian class and I wrote out all the lyrics to a Bare Naked Lady song over the entire chalkboard. Anyway, bringing back memories.
That's so cool.
What do you got? How can I help, man?
Okay, so I've had this burning question, and I've been trying to
exciting.
Get a good answer from someone I admire. Okay, right now I'm struggling to like start up with like a like my like passion driven business, like a heart-centered business. Like I have all these passions, all these desires, and all these different talents, and I feel like I have nothing. I have like no money. I have like I feel like I have no connections. Like I just feel like it's just like all the weight of the world's just on me, and just like I've been working crappy jobs, living paycheck by paycheck forever, and like I just want to know, like, if you were in my position, like with like no money, no connections, but you have all this like hidden talent and potential, like what would be like the first like steps you would take to just like not be afraid and just like not go back to a crappy job and apply at like FedEx or something like that.
Yeah, man. Dude, I love that you came on and you're sharing and you're vulnerable and open. I think a lot of people can connect to that. And you know, when I had my first company, I was struggling too, man. $300 a month and all that. Do you know what you want to do, or is that what you're trying to figure out?
I have a pretty good idea, and I have so much things. Like I've come to terms that I'm a pretty multi-passionate person. Like I've been going on Facebook Live and doing meditation. My girlfriend just started, just made a logo for me for this Zoom group I want to make up called Awake and Sober, basically for spiritual based people who are like recovery, just like a men's group basically. It's somewhat selfish because I want to have some sort of connection with like-minded people, but at the same time like have encouragement. And then I got graphic design going on. I'm drawing like little cute avatar aminals of my girlfriend and I, and she's doing her coaching business and making connections here and there with women. It's like I think I'm struggling finding like one thing.
What was the worst moment of your life when you felt like the lowest as a human being?
Oh boy, here we go. I'm gonna pick two of them. Probably one of my previous relationships where I was extremely unfaithful, and obviously broke up badly, and I felt some extreme heartache from it, self-induced, and I fell into a deep depression, and I abandoned a lot of like of my talents and my skills. Abandoned like theater. I had this like character I made for a theater show I was working on, and I basically like killed it mentally and spiritually, and I felt like I kind of like was very like self-hating, like you idiot, and like you don't deserve anyone, and you don't deserve happiness, and probably one of the worst moments. And then it kind of snowballed from there, where I felt so much shame that I felt like no one was there for me, no one can help me, and I had so much anger and resentment that I lost like any desire to work, and I was homeless for a while, and so I was just kind of like living in a lot of guilt and shame and kind of self-induced torture of, yeah. So that was probably one of the worst ones. Yeah.
Is that what led to the alcoholism too, or was it substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol? What kind of
Alcohol. I was a boozer big time. Thankfully, it didn't go too bad where I was like drinking like gallons of vodka a day, but I definitely used it as a way to cope with like my depression. And um, when I was homeless, I would drink to kind of like feel warm again. But then once things started getting better, like I got a home and stuff, I still had a huge problem with drinking, just pushing away the pain. Yeah.
So how did you get through it? How did you get off? How did you get off alcohol? How did you get through homelessness? What did you do?
Okay, so
You got it, man. This is great. You got it. People in the
So-
chat too, so like I can relate to this. So you're inspiring people with your story too.
Thanks. I hope so too, because that's one of my personal missions, is to be able to be vulnerable enough for people to relate to me, and I want people to relate to my story, and hopefully helps others. So back to the question at hand. What got me out of it was, it was I say the big turning point was the last drink I ever had was June 16th, I think, of 2016, and it was Father's Day, and I was drinking like craft beer and stuff, and thinking to myself, "Oh, it's not alcoholism if I'm like fancy about it," but it was. I was using it to like drink away the pain and help it out. Yeah, and the title of the beer was called Universal Friend, and I was just like, and it was Father's Day. I grew up without a dad. I have this big old like void in my chest of like, oh, like that was another struggle of me, like growing up without a father. And I told myself like, I don't want beer or alcohol to be my friend. And then coupled with like the emotions of like my father, if it being Father's Day with me having no father, and then also the relationship I was in was the new relationship I was in was crumbling apart. And she was afraid of what she was like afraid of me when I was drinking, and she got a restraining order on me, and because she was afraid that I might do something to hurt her. And so that was all that coupled together was just like, I gotta get my together. Like, I don't want people being afraid of me. My friends around me were like feel like they were turning against me, but in reality they were just trying to help me. And there was like a cop knocking on my door, and I was just like, this is it, I gotta turn my life around. And I did, and went to therapy, went to AA meetings, and went to the courthouse. The restraining order ended up not being like, I guess, like solidified, because it's just usually starts off as a temporary until like you get like a judge to say, okay, yeah, this guy is dangerous. So I showed the judge, like, I told him like, hey, I'm on meds, I'm seeing therapists, I stopped drinking, and it was enough for my ex to be able to feel comfortable around me, and for me to graduate.
And where does the art creativity play in? Because somewhere along the lines, you replace the warmth of alcohol with creation, with making, with art, with your expression. So how did that fit into the process?
So it's been kind of, I guess, like kind of like like when I was drinking, it numbed out, I think, kind of like my like talents. I think I used it as a way to like kind of cope with life. And now I'm like trying to flip that and make art like a good way of like expressing myself.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I'm like stumped on that question.
So there's two things here that I would look at. And again, like, I think you're awesome for sharing your story and lots of comments and people can relate to you. If I'm you, back to your original question, way at the start before we got
Yeah.
deep.
Oh boy, I know. Huh? The
Which
whole
is great.
show.
You've got two things going for you that I think could really be powerful. One is sharing what you have come through and being an expert and guide and coach for people. And two, sharing what you are going through in terms of becoming an entrepreneur and now trying to build a business. So you're not where you want to be yet with your career and with life, but you're way ahead of where you were, right?
Right.
From where you came from, you're miles ahead. Like 2015 or 2014, you wouldn't even recognize you right now.
Right.
In a loving relationship, in a home, in like all of this stuff, right?
Right.
That is something that you can inspire other people with and actually help them through. You know, like I've never been homeless, so I can have empathy, but I can't give guidance on what to do, right? Mm-hmm. You can. I've never been addicted to alcohol or anything. So same thing. Like I can have empathy, but I can't give guidance. You can. You've done it. You've been there. There's a lot of people who are like 2014 you wants to learn from 2020 you. And there's a lot of 2014 yous out there. Mm-hmm. And so now it's thinking, what do you need to do to best connect to 2014 you? And there are some steps that you went through that we kind of deconstructed a little bit, but there's more, there's deeper. So, you know, thinking about how did you get off the streets? How did you get to the streets? And how did you get off the streets? And if it's for you, it's the story of your father and, you know, you don't want your beer to be your best friend, but helping people wake up to where they're at in life and giving them perspective, that shift you can do for them, even if they didn't grow up without a father, even if they're not drinking a beer called My Unconditional Friend or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Helping people make that perspective shift. And then the expression part, like you numbed the creativity, you numbed the talents, you numbed the expression, you got your warmth, as you called it, from the alcohol. Mm-hmm. But the real warmth is inside your soul to be able to create your art, whether that's cartoons or graphic design or music or singing or whatever. You're probably multi-talented and just got bursting creativity coming from you. Yeah, but it's still all like if you're not creating and expressing, you're never going to be happy. You have to, like, the moments when you were lowest were when you couldn't create or express. And so that's how it all kind of comes together. I mean, well, I could do this and I can do this. And it's all expression. It's all creativity. You get your love and your happiness through creating things that ideally can then serve other people and be an inspiration. If somebody sees your cartoon and that inspires them to call their mom, that's going to make you feel amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Right? If somebody listens to a song that you write and that inspires them to do, right? So you have to always be creating in a way that then also serves and inspires others, and then guiding people through that process to find their hidden talents so that they can feel not worthless anymore. So taking people who feel worthless, who, you know, worthiness can come from not having a father and not having a stable job and being homeless, or maybe they have lots of money, but they still feel worthless because they never got love growing up. And you help them find worthiness through art. A lot of people have a really hard time tapping into their own creativity. A really hard time tapping into creativity. You can help them. And I think what you would be actually great at is because you can do so many things, you can help them find the thing that they can express themselves through. Even if you've never done it before. Mm-hmm. So if somebody, maybe for somebody the answer is dance. And maybe you don't know how to dance. Or maybe you do, but maybe you don't know like hip hop dancing, or maybe you don't know whatever. Like you could figure it out with them and help them get a result. help them now start to feel the warmth and feel the light within, because they are creating and expressing, maybe for the first time ever. Like maybe they've been in a creation suppression machine their entire life, because their parents and their teachers and the people around them told them that they couldn't succeed or do well, right? And the voice inside their head told them they couldn't do well, they couldn't create, or that what they were making wasn't worthwhile, and so they stopped.
Yeah.
That's, I think, your secret sauce. Your ability to go in. No, like I think if people hang around you a little bit, you'll just force out creativity from them. But not your creativity, their creativity. Like you'll if somebody spent half an hour with you, they're going to become more creative. You're going to have them drawing something or writing a poem or just, and I think you already realize that, but you're not leaning in on it enough. Like that, those gut feelings that you get, like this person could be a great, even like what I'm doing with you. I don't know you, but I feel this is right. And I think you'll get that when you're meeting other people. It's like, this person, it's going to come to you. This person needs to write a poem right now. And you're going to tell them, you know what you need to do? You need to write a poem right now. And I'll walk you through it and guide you. And they're like, a poem? Like I've never written a poem in my life. But for whatever reason, it's actually going to be the best thing for them. Like it's actually learning to trust that intuition and tap into that vibe with them. Because I think you'll vibe super well with people and then be able to push them in a direction that they've never even experienced or thought possible before. And that will make you feel great for life. You'll be 95 years old and somebody comes to you, it doesn't feel worthy, it doesn't feel any warmth in their life, and then you help them discover a little bit of creativity within them, and you see their eyes light up, that they actually have a little bit of hope now. That's still going to get you going, even if you're sitting in an old age home or wheelchair or something, because you're, 95 years old. Mm-hmm. So that is, I think, what you need to be doing. The way to approach it is either one-on-one or at scale. One-on-one, you get paid for it. You get paid for being a coach and helping people discover their creativity. It's not going to be homeless people at this point because they don't have money to pay you. So you can always have a point of your business where it's free. That's part of your community service. Like at every seminar that I put on, we always have 10% of the room or so that's free because people can't afford it, right? Because $50 for some people is just an impossible number. But you tap into people who do have money, who don't know how to express and create for themselves. That's option one. Option two is mass. Option two is like YouTube, making videos where you're not necessarily doing one-on-one, but you're helping unlock millions of people at a time. Most of what I do is on mass, right? It's not, I love the one-on-one, but I don't want to be a coach. It's just harder to scale. I want to help 1 billion people, right? Not one person at a time. So my coaching is like public, like this, like, hey, come on and let's chat and see how I can help.
Yeah.
So it's now starting to see everything that you do as not some all over the place chaos. It's actually all within the same arc of helping people find worthiness and love through creation and expression and creativity. So now if you're going to do Zoom calls for people who are sober, recovering or wanting to get sober, for you, it's got to be something where they're now not just sharing their stories and not just a support group like AA, but they have to make something. Like your version of AA is we're going to sit and paint together, or we're going to do a freestyle rap, or we're going to go on the street and hold up signs and hug people. Like creation has to be a part of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
And for other people, like that will be the answer too. Like that was the answer for you to help get you out, on top of having the life-changing moment of realizing Father's Day, no father, the beer was your friend, all that stuff. But the sustained way out is by expression and creativity. And there's so many people who are creatively, I don't even know how to say that. They're constipated. Like,
yeah,
they haven't expressed themselves in a decade properly. They don't even know where to start. And so this is where they meet you and you help them. Like you could solve alcoholism not by sitting in a room sharing your story, but by getting on the street and doing a freestyle rap with people. So everything that you're doing, the support groups, the cartoons, everything that goes through your head, now if you put structure to it in terms of this is creativity to help people feel worthiness and love. And there's 1,000 different ways to be able to approach it, but you're not now all over the place. It all makes sense under the mission of who you are and what you're trying to accomplish.
That's all good stuff, man.
I think that's your good first step. Like the next step is then documenting the journey of you becoming an entrepreneur. How do you turn this creative energy into becoming an entrepreneur where you have a full-time business and you don't have to work a FedEx job and you're not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. That you're not an expert on anymore. Sorry, you're not an expert on yet. You haven't done it yet. But helping people find worthiness through creativity, you're an expert at. Mm-hmm. You've done it for yourself, and I think you would very quickly be able to do it for other people as well. You may not have enough reps in, like you may not have enough pattern recognition, haven't done it enough with people to know exactly yet, but I think your gut and your intuition would be so good at it that you'll figure it out pretty quickly.
I got a big challenge ahead of me now.
You got a big challenge. So now we got to figure out, okay, well, how do we turn that into a next step for you to start making money? So now we're looking like, what's the lowest hanging fruit that is fulfilling for you, that is not going to be the whole thing, but it opens the door to start creating the life and business that you want. So if you look at it just through the lens of alcoholism, what I would do is try to create a program, like a 90-day program or a 3-month program or something, where people who are, would you rather deal with people who currently are still on alcohol, or people who are just, they've decided to get sober and they have been sober and they need help kind of staying sober?
I don't think I can hold space. And I don't believe I have the necessary skills to be able to hold space for people who are currently drinking. I think more probably suited towards people who are sober and just want to have motivation to stay that way. So
I'm sober. I've just decided, but I have a hard time staying it, and I'm worried that I'm going to go back to my old ways.
Yeah.
Right. So then they find you, and you have 8 to 10 people, and every week, instead of just sitting in a room sharing your stories, you're doing something creative together to find worthiness through expression.
Worthiness through expression, yeah.
So week 1 is learn how to draw Bart Simpson. Right? Like week 2 is we're gonna write a poem together. Week 3 is right, yeah. and not all of it will resonate every single time, but I own the largest dance school for salsa dancing here in Canada, maybe North America, and nobody actually signs up to become a world-class salsa dancer. It's not why people go to salsa class. Like 0.1% of people. They're coming for connection. They're coming to feel like they belong somewhere. They're coming for a sense of learning something new, right? And so it's not that somebody's goal is to come and learn how to draw Bart Simpson and be the next cartoonist for, The Simpsons. They're coming to feel connection, belonging, worthiness, and start to discover themselves. They say, I haven't drawn since I was 8 years old. But it's kind of fun. Like, when's the last time people actually had fun in their life? Especially people who are, like, newly sober. Mm-hmm. Fun was just at the bottom of a barrel, at the bottom of a bottle. Yeah. And so I'd be looking, how do I get 8 to 10 people for however long, like a 3-month program, where every week you're doing something different with them, and they pay you to be part of it. A trial could be even shorter, like it could be 8 to 10 people for 4 to 6 weeks, where you rent the church basement, or you hit up a friend who might have a spot, or maybe in your condo there's something that, a room you can go to or something.
I think about doing
Yeah.
Probably would it work on like on Zoom meetings or something too?
Yeah, and I guess now with like Corona or something, you can't actually meet people. But
Yeah.
I think your genius will really come out in person.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that right now, but you can do it in person, and you can have people as your test group. Like you do it for free for your first 8 to 10 people in a group. So you get your men's group of people, and some of these people have a lot of money, right? I mean, this is something that you should be charging for. Alcoholism isn't just a homeless problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would sit down and think for like 6 to 8 weeks as a trial. What activities would I have people do for 6 to 8 weeks? Week 1 is we're going to draw something. Week 2 we're gonna rap battle. Week 3 we're going to write lyrics. Week 4 we're going to paint. Like something easy that everybody can do. I guess not something crazy like you need to go off and buy 18 sets of paintbrushes and all this stuff to make something happen. Yeah. Something you can do. Pen and paper. Okay, guys, get your pen and paper. Okay, we're going to draw Bart Simpson. It's crazy, but like, but you're crazy enough to pull it off, right? And your vibe and energy and spirit will guide. They're like, why am I doing this? I don't know, but it feels amazing. and that's like, it could be the most amazing they felt in the past decade or their entire adult life. I see it through dancing, man. People come in and dance, like this is the most fun they've had, sometimes in their most adult life. So I would start my first pilot program and then that becomes something that you charge for. And it'll fill you with joy and love and spirit and purpose and also help you start making money. It's not an overnight thing. You might still have to have a job to support your lifestyle and what you're doing now. But if you see hope of, I'm building towards something, we're making this happen. I got my first paid group and then your second paid group. And then now you're charging more for each paid group that comes through. You start to see light.
Yeah, little by little. Thanks, Evan. This is all good stuff. I feel like I have a kind of like a container to like put all my ideas into and be able to kind of it's great. I really love the weekly assignments with the group. This is great stuff. Yeah.
So just think of your life as a big container of it's always going to be creativity and expression of some kind. If you're not creating or expressing, you're not going to be happy. If you're ever unhappy in your life, there's a lack of creativity and expression and love somewhere. And then this is a mini container of your program for men who are sober and trying to stay that way. Don't feel trapped by it. Don't feel like this is so small or this is not the full extension of me. This is just a step. This is one thing that you can do, and it's the easiest first step to get started. Yeah. So as you're creating, it often happens with like super creative types. Then they feel super boxed in. It's like, well, I don't want to only do this. You don't have to. This is just step one to make you feel like you have purpose and hope and start building a business that makes you some money. That might evolve into many, many, many other things, whether it's graphic design or cartoons or singing or all sorts of stuff. But helping that men's group. So like homework for today is think about what are the 6 to 8 modules, 6 to 8 activities, and who are my 8 to 10 first people that I would reach out to say, hey, I'm starting this 6 to 8 weeks program where we meet for an hour every week. And I'm going to give you a creative assignment because the way to stay sober is through connection to each other and connection to your creativity.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Oh my gosh. Can I use that sentence in
Steal it all, man. It's all yours. This was all you. I'm just channeling you. That's it. And that's what you're going to do for the people. Like you're going to channel them. You're going to get on and learn to lean into what your gut is telling you, right? I mean, I didn't know what to expect starting this call. I just saw the whiteboard and we started talking about Bart Simpson and my Italian classes. You might go in thinking about they're going to draw Bart Simpson, but as soon as you get on the call and you see the energy, you might feel something else. You know what, guys? I'm switching up today's lessons plan because today we're going to do X. I want everybody to go out on the balcony and yell, "I love you" at the top of your lungs.
That's so
Right?
badass. That's cool. Yeah.
Well, like, and I'm just vibing, but that's what you want. I need you to do for you to actually get the best results for you and the people. So you have some lesson plan, but be willing to throw it all away once you get in to the call and start helping them, because you're going to get that creative spark coming to you, and they need the push to go off and do it. They would never go on the balcony or on the porch and say, "I love you" on their own. But if they all do it together and you're like egging them on and pushing them, and then they're come in like, "Oh my God, that was crazy. That was amazing." Right? And you help create that. And now you're creating self-confidence and self-love within themselves, which will help them stay sober. Cool, man.
Cool. Thank you so
You
much.
got some work to do.
I got a lot
of work to do. Don't feel overwhelmed. Get the 6 to 8 modules, get the 8 to 10 people, and like start your Zoom calls in 2 weeks.
Yeah. This is such a great gift right here today. This is so cool. Thank you so much, Evan, for your time.
You put your hand up and said, "Pick me." So appreciate you and sharing your story.
I got
and
brave, and I'm just like, request. Let's see what happens.
Cool, man.
If you have a podcast or interview show and want me to be a guest on it, I have 2 options for you. There's a link right there next to me. Go click it, and I look forward to being a guest on your show.